Imagine stumbling upon an abandoned trommel, left forgotten by time, only to uncover something that would change everything. For Parker Schnabel, this moment would be one of the most incredible discoveries of his career. In today's video, we're diving deep into the shocking find that Parker unearthed inside this old trommel, an event that not only shocked his crew, but also forever altered his journey in the world of gold mining. Stay tuned as we explore what he found, how it impacted his operations, and what it means for the future of this young mining mogul. Mining for gold, especially in the harsh and unforgiving environments that Parker Schnabel often works in, requires more than just grit and determination. It involves a precise and well-thought-out process, utilizing sophisticated machinery and techniques. One of the most important tools in this process is the trommel, a cylindrical machine that helps to separate gold from the surrounding dirt, gravel, and rocks. While it may look like a simple rotating drum, the trommel plays a vital role in ensuring the success of mining operations. The trommel works by rotating large quantities of earth and rock, allowing materials to be sifted through a mesh or screen. This process is key in separating larger rocks and debris from smaller, more valuable pieces, like gold nuggets. As the trommel spins, the smaller, heavier pieces like gold get caught in a mesh, while larger materials simply fall out. This method is highly effective, and over the years, trommels have become indispensable in the placer mining industry. However, not all trommels are created equal. The condition of the trommel, as well as its ability to handle the specific types of materials in a given area, plays a huge role in the mining operation's efficiency. In some cases, trommels can wear down over time, requiring repairs or even complete replacements. For miners like Parker Schnabel, maintaining and repairing trommels is a crucial part of the job. But there's one more element to consider: abandoned trommels. When a mining operation ends, whether due to low yields, high costs, or other factors, machinery like trommels can be left behind. These abandoned machines are often seen as relics of failed operations, collecting rust and sitting idle in remote locations. To the untrained eye, they may appear to be of little use, their potential long forgotten by those who once relied on them. However, for someone like Parker Schnabel, these abandoned machines present an opportunity, a chance to uncover what others missed. Parker's success has always been built on his ability to see the untapped potential in places that others overlook. And that's exactly what happened when he stumbled upon an abandoned trommel on a new mining site. At first glance, the trommel looked like nothing more than a piece of old equipment, rusted and forgotten. But Parker, ever the opportunist, saw something different. It was in that moment of inspection that Parker realized that even though the trommel was no longer in active use, there was still a wealth of opportunity hidden within. Mining equipment, especially trommels, often gets left behind with precious materials still inside. The dirt, gravel, and rocks left behind in the machine could still contain gold that the previous miners had either missed or hadn't been able to extract because of faulty equipment or oversight. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. When Parker and his crew started digging through the abandoned trommel, they found something that would blow their minds. Nuggets of gold that had been overlooked for years, small treasures trapped in the machinery's worn-out mechanisms, now ready to be claimed by Parker and his team. As we dive deeper into this story, we'll discover not just the incredible find Parker made, but also how this discovery highlights the importance of revisiting old sites and equipment, and how even the most overlooked machines can hold valuable secrets waiting to be unearthed. Stay tuned, because what happened next will completely change your perspective on abandoned mining sites and the treasure they might still hold. Gold mining has a long and rich history, and the discovery of gold has often sparked booms in towns and entire regions. However, as quickly as these mining booms begin, they can also fade just as fast. Many gold rush towns and mining operations have been abandoned over the years, either because the initial finds were exhausted, the cost of extracting gold became too high, or miners simply moved on to newer, more promising locations. These abandoned sites often lie forgotten, tucked away in remote corners of the world, surrounded by overgrown vegetation and deteriorating equipment. To the untrained eye, these locations seem like nothing more than barren, failed operations. Yet, for those willing to look closely, especially for experienced miners like Parker Schnabel, these abandoned sites hold a gold mine of untapped potential. It's easy to assume that once a site is abandoned, all the gold has been extracted. However, this assumption is often far from the truth. Mining operations, particularly large-scale ones, are complex, and the process of sifting through mountains of dirt and gravel can miss pockets of gold hidden deeper in the ground or within equipment. Furthermore, equipment that is outdated, malfunctioning, or improperly maintained can leave behind valuable materials that would otherwise go unnoticed. Abandoned trommels, for example, are often seen as relics of past mining efforts. They are massive, heavy-duty machines used to filter out valuable gold particles from dirt and gravel. While trommels are highly effective, they can also become worn down over time, and the materials they process can accumulate in the machinery itself. Once a mining operation shuts down, many trommels are left behind without a second thought. The crew moves on to new locations, assuming that the site has been fully mined, and the abandoned trommel is left to rust and deteriorate. But this isn't the end of the story. Just because a mining site is abandoned doesn't mean it has nothing left to offer. In fact, as Parker Schnabel's story shows, there's often more gold to be found than anyone realizes. For Parker, these abandoned sites became a treasure hunt, a chance to revisit places that had already been worked out by previous miners. And it wasn't just the trommels he was looking at. It was the entire site, the soil, the sluice boxes, the forgotten corners, and even the machinery left behind. There's something fascinating about these forgotten mining sites, and it goes beyond the gold they might still contain. They tell a story of a time when hope and excitement filled the air, when miners believed they could strike it rich in a single day. Yet, many of these operations were abandoned long before they reached their full potential. Whether it was because of an unexpected failure or a lack of resources, the stories of these abandoned mining sites are often full of mystery. Parker's discovery of gold in the abandoned trommel is not just an isolated event. It highlights the often overlooked potential of these sites. The gold wasn't gone. It was simply hidden, waiting for someone like Parker to come along and dig deeper. This discovery also serves as a reminder that in the world of mining, persistence and attention to detail are just as important as the equipment used to extract gold. What others see as waste, Parker sees as opportunity. In the next section, we'll dive into the exact moment when Parker found something truly mind-blowing in the abandoned trommel, setting the stage for an incredible new chapter in his mining journey. Stay with us, because this discovery is just the beginning of what promises to be an extraordinary story. As the crew set foot on the abandoned mining site, Parker Schnabel was initially cautious, unsure of what he might uncover. After all, this location had already been deemed unprofitable by previous miners, and the equipment that had once been part of a bustling operation now sat in disrepair. But for Parker, there was always a flicker of possibility in the seemingly impossible. It was this mindset that led him to the trommel, a large cylindrical machine that had once been a key player in separating gold from the earth. At first glance, the trommel looked like an old, rusted relic from a bygone era. Its metal body was covered in patches of dirt and grime, with no signs of life or activity. The machine was essentially abandoned, its rotating mechanism no longer functioning, and the once efficient screens now clogged with remnants of previous operations. For most, it would have seemed like nothing more than scrap metal, a relic of a failed mining venture. But Parker didn't just see an old piece of equipment, he saw potential. The crew carefully examined the trommel, starting to disassemble it and inspect its interior. As they worked, they began to uncover something unexpected, small bits of dirt and gravel still trapped inside the machine. For most miners, this would have been seen as nothing more than waste. But Parker's sharp eye quickly noticed something unusual about the dirt caught in the trommel's filters. There was a noticeable heaviness to it. Something was off. It was at that moment that Parker realized something extraordinary. The dirt inside the trommel wasn't just dirt, it was filled with gold. As the crew began to sift through the material, it became clear that the trommel had been holding onto gold that had somehow escaped the notice of the previous miners. Nuggets and flakes of gold, some small and others surprisingly large, had been left behind in the corners of Trommel, embedded in the thick layers of dirt and gravel. It was as if the Trommel had been holding on to these precious treasures, untouched by those who had operated it before. Parker's heart raced as he looked at the gold in his hands. He realized that the previous miners hadn't just failed to extract this gold, they hadn't even recognized it as valuable. The gold had simply been missed in the process, possibly due to malfunctioning equipment, faulty operation, or a lack of thoroughness. Whatever the reason, Parker had stumbled upon what seemed to be a gold mine within a piece of machinery many had considered useless. The discovery wasn't just a stroke of luck, it was a testament to Parker's incredible ability to find hidden opportunities. His keen understanding of mining processes and his relentless drive had led him to uncover what others had missed. For Parker, it wasn't just about digging into the ground, it was about understanding the equipment, analyzing what went wrong, and finding ways to make the most of what others had left behind. But the discovery didn't stop there. As Parker and his team continued to dig deeper into the Trommel, they uncovered even more gold. The more they extracted, the more they realized that this was no ordinary find. The amount of gold that had been left behind was far more than they had anticipated, and each scoop seemed to reveal another hidden treasure. As Parker marveled at the gold in his hands, he couldn't help but feel a sense of disbelief. An abandoned, rusty Trommel had become the source of a fortune, one that would have been impossible to uncover without a fresh set of eyes and a willingness to dig deeper than others had. But the real question was, how much more could be hidden in the abandoned machinery, and what other surprises lay waiting to be discovered in the forgotten corners of mining operations? This was just the beginning of what would soon become one of Parker Schnabel's most memorable finds. When Parker Schnabel and his crew found gold inside the abandoned Trommel, it wasn't just a small discovery. It was a game changer. What had seemed like a forgotten, worthless machine turned into a treasure trove, and this sudden revelation sent shockwaves through the entire operation. It wasn't just about the amount of gold they found. It was the realization that abandoned mining sites, places once dismissed as worthless, held potential that most people, even experienced miners, had completely overlooked. The initial discovery was a moment of awe, but what followed was the real turning point. The crew had been working at the site for weeks, doing routine tasks, but nothing had prepared them for the gold they would uncover within the Trommel. Parker, who had always maintained that you never stop looking for opportunities, knew this discovery was more than just a fluke. It was a sign that there was more to be found. It was time to rethink everything they knew about mining in this area. The Trommel had originally been a massive part of the mining process, filtering dirt and gravel to separate out valuable minerals. Over time, however, the machine had broken down and fallen into disuse, replaced by more modern and efficient methods. For years, it had sat dormant, ignored and forgotten. But what Parker uncovered was proof that even the oldest, most neglected equipment had something left to offer. With this newfound knowledge, Parker made the decision to go all in on the abandoned site. The crew immediately began rethinking their entire strategy. They stopped seeing the abandoned Trommel as a relic of the past, and instead viewed it as an opportunity for gold. Parker directed his team to carefully dismantle the machinery and investigate every nook and cranny for any more gold that could be hidden away. They didn't just want to pull up dirt, they wanted to extract every last ounce of gold that had been left behind. They began sifting through the muck inside the Trommel, carefully extracting gold that had been missed by those who had worked the site years before. But the excitement didn't stop at the Trommel. Parker's discovery reignited their curiosity about the entire mining site. They started looking at the landscape with fresh eyes. Could there be more gold hidden deep within the earth? Was the rest of the site equally underexplored? Parker's hunch told him that if they could find gold in something as forgotten as the Trommel, then the rest of the site might hold even more surprises. What followed was a systematic and more thorough search of every corner of the abandoned mining area. As Parker and his team dug deeper, the realization settled in. What had once been dismissed as an unprofitable venture was now potentially an untapped gold mine. They found more gold in the Trommel, and it quickly became clear that other areas of the site were equally rich with potential. They expanded their operation, employing new techniques, and utilizing the knowledge Parker had gained from years of mining experience. Each discovery built upon the last, and the team started to feel the rush of success that only comes when a true opportunity is uncovered. What began as a small, seemingly insignificant discovery had sparked a transformation in Parker's operation. It was a reminder that in mining, nothing should ever be taken for granted. There is always something to be found, whether it's in the ground, the machinery, or even the overlooked remnants of a long-abandoned site. Parker's ability to spot these opportunities was what set him apart from others in the industry. As the operation grew, the crew's excitement was palpable, and it became clear that this was no longer just a side project. It was the beginning of something huge. But the question remained, how much more gold was still waiting to be found? In the next section, we'll dive into the strategy Parker used to maximize their gains and the unexpected hurdles they faced along the way. Once the gold had been found inside the abandoned Trommel, Parker Schnabel knew he had something special on his hands. But the real work was only beginning. With the excitement of the discovery still fresh, he had to make some critical decisions about how to turn this unexpected find into a fully functioning, profitable mining operation. The key was to move fast and methodically, without letting the excitement cloud his judgment. Parker had learned over the years that timing and strategic planning could make or break a mining operation. The first step was simple. He had to make sure that the site was properly set up to support the growing operation. The abandoned site wasn't exactly an active gold mine. It was a place where machinery had been left to rust, and mining had long since ceased. This wasn't the modern, well-equipped operation Parker was used to. It was a mishmash of old, malfunctioning equipment, some of which had been rendered nearly useless. The Trommel had been a surprise, but now the team had to get creative. Parker's first move was to bring in the right equipment to complement the Trommel. While the Trommel was a gold mine in itself, it was only a part of the larger picture. Parker's team needed to ensure that they had the right tools to extract as much gold as possible and at the highest efficiency. That meant bringing in more machinery, repairing existing gear, and even rethinking the way they process material. One of Parker's strengths was knowing when to upgrade and when to get creative. He understood that sometimes mining is about more than just brute force. It's about being innovative with the resources you have at your disposal. But Parker's biggest challenge wasn't just the machinery. It was managing the team. Mining on a large scale is incredibly labor-intensive, and after months of grueling work, the morale of the crew could sometimes dip. The crew had originally been focused on other mining operations, and the sudden shift to this new, abandoned site required a different mindset. Parker had to inspire his team, get them to buy into the idea that this site, once considered a dead end, had the potential to become something great. This meant rallying the crew, getting them excited about the gold they'd already found, and making sure they knew that there was more to be discovered. To maximize their efforts, Parker started deploying a series of tactics that he had learned over years of mining. First, he brought in additional workers who specialized in various aspects of the operation, including experts in heavy equipment, rock drilling, and sluicing. He had to create a well-oiled machine that could operate at full capacity without wasting time. The operation needed to be fast, but it also needed to be careful. Every scoop of dirt, every piece of equipment, had to be optimized for extracting as much gold as possible without causing unnecessary delays. The next big move was to analyze the surrounding area. The Trommel wasn't the only potential gold-rich site. There could be hidden pockets of gold elsewhere, both in the ground and in the machinery itself. Parker decided to invest in new digging technology that allowed them to extract gold from deeper and harder-to-reach places. What followed was a calculated series of digs around the Trommel, testing the surrounding earth and rock for valuable nuggets or flakes that could have been missed. Parker's approach wasn't just about finding gold in one place. It was about seeing the entire site as one interconnected system that could lead to even more riches. The result was a full-fledged operation that went beyond simply cleaning out the Trommel. By taking a methodical approach and strategically adding new resources, Parker was able to scale the operation and ramp up production. But with all this progress came its own set of challenges. Parker and his team soon discovered that finding gold was just the beginning. The real test was going to be how they could maintain this momentum and stay ahead of any obstacles that might arise. In the next section, we'll dive into some of the unexpected hurdles they faced and how Parker dealt with them head-on. No mining operation, no matter how promising, is ever without its hurdles. Parker Schnabel quickly learned that after the excitement of discovering gold inside the abandoned Trommel wore off, a whole new set of challenges awaited. While he had managed to turn the abandoned site into a bustling operation, things were not going to go as smoothly as he had hoped. Mining is a volatile industry, and Parker's discovery, while exciting, was just the beginning of a whole new set of problems that had to be solved quickly and efficiently. One of the biggest obstacles they faced was equipment breakdowns. As much as Parker and his team had worked to repair and replace parts of the old machinery, things began to fail under the heavy strain of the mining process. The Trommel itself had been an unexpected blessing, but it wasn't built for the scale of work they were now demanding of it. Soon enough, parts started breaking down, and the team had to scramble to fix them or bring in temporary replacements to keep things running smoothly. This was one of those situations where Parker's experience as a miner came into play. He knew that you had to be prepared for setbacks, and that the solution often meant acting quickly and thinking on your feet. Another issue that arose was the quality of the ground. While Parker had initially believed that the abandoned site was rich in gold, it wasn't as simple as just digging and panning. The deeper they went into the ground, the more inconsistent the gold deposits became. They encountered hard rock that was difficult to break through and sections of the site that were surprisingly barren. Some parts of the land that had initially shown promise turned out to be much less productive than expected. This led to a shift in strategy. Parker had to ensure that every dig was as efficient as possible and that they weren't wasting time and energy on unproductive patches of land. To solve this problem, Parker took a more scientific approach. He started testing the soil in different parts of the site, looking for signs of gold in the surrounding dirt and rock. He brought in geologists to assess the land's mineral content and figure out where the gold was most likely to be hiding. This was a big turning point for the team. Up until now, they had relied on instinct and experience, but now they were relying on data and science to guide their operations. Parker had always known that mining wasn't just about hard work. It was about using knowledge and technology to make the process more efficient. The harsh Alaskan weather also posed a significant challenge to the operation. With the extreme cold, rain, and snow, the crew had to work through conditions that were often difficult and sometimes even dangerous. One of the main concerns was keeping the water flowing through the trommel, as freezing could cause serious problems in the system. At times, they had to work in sub-zero temperatures, which created additional safety risks. Keeping morale up during these tough conditions was no easy task, but Parker made sure to keep his crew motivated. His leadership and calm under pressure helped keep everyone focused on the goal, despite the adversity they faced. But perhaps the biggest challenge of all came from the pressure of competing with other miners. The gold rush atmosphere was alive and well, and Parker wasn't the only one with his eyes set on finding wealth. Other miners were starting to realize that there was more to be found in the area, and some were even attempting to move in on his side. Parker knew that in order to keep his operation running, he had to stay ahead of the competition, constantly innovating and working harder than ever before. Despite all these challenges, Parker's ability to keep calm under pressure and think critically was key to the operation's survival. Through smart decisions, quick thinking, and a relentless commitment to his team, he was able to overcome these obstacles and keep the gold flowing. But as Parker and his crew continued to push forward, they knew that more surprises lay ahead. In the next section, we'll explore how Parker's team managed to stay motivated and find creative solutions to keep the operation running smoothly. Running a high-stakes operation in the world of gold mining isn't just about digging through dirt and sifting through rocks. It's about managing a team under extreme pressure in harsh conditions and with a constant stress of uncertainty. When Parker Schnabel found the gold hidden inside the abandoned trommel, it wasn't just his luck that kept the operation going. It was the way he inspired his team to overcome obstacles and keep their eyes on the prize. Mining is grueling work, and when the weather is bitterly cold, the days are long and setbacks seem to come at every turn, keeping the team motivated can become a monumental challenge. However, Parker's leadership style was critical to making sure that the crew stayed on track and was willing to push through each challenge. One of Parker's greatest strengths as a leader is his ability to lead by example. He wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty or to work alongside his team, putting in the same long hours they did. This wasn't about giving orders from the safety of the command center. Parker was out there in the mud, alongside his team, solving problems and showing them that he was just as committed to the operation as they were. This hands-on leadership style built trust and showed the team that they were all in it together. But it wasn't just his work ethic that kept the crew inspired. Parker also understood the importance of keeping morale high in such a physically and mentally exhausting environment. While other bosses might focus solely on production and results, Parker took the time to engage with his team members on a personal level. He made sure that they understood the significance of their work, explaining how each step they took brought them closer to the goal and how every small victory mattered. By helping them see the bigger picture, Parker was able to create a sense of purpose within the crew. Another important factor in keeping the team motivated was Parker's ability to remain calm under pressure. During the most difficult times, whether it was a malfunctioning piece of machinery or harsh weather conditions, Parker never lost his cool. His ability to maintain a level head reassured his team and kept panic at bay. When challenges arose, he was the first to find solutions and communicate those plans to his team in a way that was clear and confident. This helped the crew stay focused, knowing that their leader had a plan and was able to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. It's also important to recognize the camaraderie that Parker encouraged among his crew. Mining is often seen as a solitary pursuit, with individual crews working in isolation. However, Parker promoted a sense of unity, reminding his team that they weren't just workers, they were a team. This feeling of community created a shared commitment to the mission. Whether it was facing the freezing cold or dealing with broken equipment, the crew knew they could count on each other to get the job done. This solidarity made the entire team stronger and more resilient. While Parker was the central figure in the operation, he also understood the importance of delegating tasks to others who had specific expertise. He surrounded himself with a team of specialists, experts in geology, equipment repair, and operations, each of whom had a vital role in making the operation successful. By recognizing the strengths of others and trusting them to take charge of certain tasks, Parker was able to maximize the overall efficiency of the operation. But perhaps most crucially, Parker's ability to keep the team motivated came from his vision and belief in what they were doing. He wasn't just leading them toward a goal, he was leading them toward a shared dream of success. This vision gave the team something to believe in, something to rally behind. They weren't just digging for gold, they were part of a mission to uncover something truly special. As the operation progressed, Parker's leadership continued to be tested, and each time he rose to the occasion. His ability to keep the crew's spirits high, despite the challenges, allowed the operation to thrive even when it seemed like everything was working against them. When Parker Schnabel first set foot on the abandoned site, he couldn't have known just how transformative this discovery would be. The gold that had been hidden inside the Trommel was more than just a jackpot. It was the catalyst for a series of events that would shape Parker's career and solidify his place as one of the most respected and successful miners in the gold rush world. The initial excitement of finding gold was undoubtedly thrilling, but the true rewards came in the aftermath. The discovery didn't just give Parker a financial boost. It brought new opportunities, heightened fame, and invaluable experience that would set the stage for future success. It would prove to be a game changer, not just in terms of wealth, but in how Parker approached his work and his career. Financially, the gold find was a massive reward. It wasn't just about the amount of gold they pulled out of the Trommel. It was about the confirmation that Parker's methods worked. Despite being one of the younger miners in the business, he had always taken bold risks, testing new techniques and machinery. The gold find inside the Trommel validated his approach and gave him the financial backing to expand his operations. Suddenly, Parker wasn't just the leader of a single crew. He was a young mogul, with the means to take on even larger and more ambitious projects. With that financial success came an influx of attention. Parker had already gained a solid reputation from his time on the popular show Gold Rush, but this particular discovery thrust him into the spotlight in ways that hadn't been seen before. As the story of the abandoned Trommel and the hidden gold spread, Parker's name became synonymous with success in the gold mining world. He was no longer just another miner on a reality TV show, he was becoming an icon in his field. Fans of the show were more fascinated by him than ever, and the media coverage surrounding the Trommel discovery increased his visibility tenfold. This newfound fame opened doors for Parker, offering opportunities for partnerships, sponsorships, and even media appearances outside of the show. He began to attract the attention of investors and business people eager to capitalize on his success. The Trommel discovery acted as a launching pad, pushing Parker to the forefront of the mining industry and elevating him to a level of influence he hadn't yet experienced. But perhaps the most important reward came in the form of experience. As Parker continued to work through the challenges presented by the Trommel find, he learned more about the complexities of mining than he could have ever anticipated. The unexpected hurdles he faced, everything from machinery breakdowns to team morale issues, helped him become a more skilled and strategic leader. Each obstacle sharpened his ability to solve problems quickly and effectively, cementing his reputation as a skilled problem solver. Furthermore, the discovery gave Parker new insights into how to run a successful operation. He learned the importance of patience and perseverance, of not rushing the process even when the gold seemed just within reach. He gained a deeper understanding of how to assess land and evaluate its potential, knowledge that would serve him well in future ventures. The experience he gained for this operation would be invaluable as he continued to grow and take on more significant mining projects. Beyond the tangible rewards, the Trommel discovery also reinforced Parker's passion for mining. It reminded him of why he got into this industry in the first place: the thrill of discovery, the challenge, and the satisfaction of building something from the ground up. This passion would drive him to seek out even greater opportunities and continue taking calculated risks throughout his career. The discovery inside the abandoned Trommel was not just a fleeting moment of excitement in Parker Schnabel's career. It would become a defining event, one that left a lasting impact on his legacy in the mining world and the Gold Rush franchise. From that point forward, Parker's approach to mining, leadership, and even the way he managed his career will be forever shaped by the lessons learned and the opportunities that came from that fateful discovery. One of the most significant ways the Trommel discovery impacted Parker's legacy was by proving that he had the ability to thrive under pressure. Prior to this, Parker had always been seen as a young, talented miner, but some still doubted his ability to handle the immense challenges of leading large-scale operations. When he successfully managed to extract gold from a derelict Trommel, his critics were silenced. This moment solidified his reputation as not just a miner, but a leader who could rise to meet any challenge. The success of the Trommel operation also marked a turning point in Parker's confidence as a businessperson. He was no longer just managing a small team on a single mining site. He had the resources, the reputation, and the expertise to expand his operations and manage multiple crews across vast stretches of land. This newfound confidence gave Parker the drive to pursue bigger and bolder mining projects, seeking out opportunities that were previously out of reach. His leadership began to evolve, and he started taking a more strategic approach to his business decisions, no longer relying on luck or intuition alone, but backed by data, knowledge, and experience. In addition to cementing his status as a skilled miner, the Trommel discovery also had a profound effect on Parker's relationship with his crew. The team was more motivated than ever before, knowing that their hard work had led to one of the most remarkable finds in recent memory. Parker's leadership, bolstered by the success of the Trommel operation, brought them together in ways they hadn't experienced before. They were no longer just following orders. They were part of something special, something bigger than themselves. Parker's ability to inspire his team was one of the defining factors that allowed the operation to thrive in the long run. It also led to a culture of loyalty among his crew members, many of whom would continue to work with Parker on his future projects. The Trommel discovery also brought with it a significant change in Parker's public image. Prior to this, he was known mainly as a reality TV star, someone viewers tuned in to watch as part of Gold Rush's drama. However, with the success of this discovery, Parker's reputation as a professional miner began to overshadow his TV persona. He was now seen as a serious player in the mining industry, a young entrepreneur capable of turning challenges into opportunities. The Trommel discovery marked the beginning of a shift in how the public perceived him. No longer just a TV character, but a legitimate, accomplished miner in his own right. As Parker's legacy grew, so did the opportunities that came his way. Investors began to take notice, and Parker soon had the chance to collaborate with other major mining ventures and expand his reach. His newfound financial stability allowed him to venture into areas he had never previously imagined, investing in land, acquiring new equipment, and building his brand within the gold mining industry. But the most lasting impact of the Trommel discovery on Parker's career was the way it shaped his future decisions. He learned the value of calculated risk-taking, the importance of knowing when to push forward and when to step back, and how to turn obstacles into stepping stones. Every challenge he faced after the Trommel discovery was met with the confidence that he had the skills to handle whatever came his way. What Parker Schnabel uncovered in that abandoned Trommel wasn't just a treasure, it was a game changer for his entire mining operation. This discovery opened up new doors, reinforced his status as a top-tier miner, and inspired his crew to push harder than ever before. As we've seen today, the gold rush isn't just about finding riches. It's about perseverance, strategy, and seizing the moment when opportunity strikes. Parker's journey is far from over, and we can't wait to see where this adventurous path leads him next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories.